Okay, confession time. Some mornings I literally wake up and think, what in the Hollywood hell kind of script is this? Am I in a tragic drama, a telenovela, a sitcom with bad lighting? Because this reality, honey, feels like one long audition nobody told me about. But here's the kicker: science and spirituality both agree. Whether it's simulation theory, quantum mechanics, or Carl Jung's persona masks, the evidence is clear. Life is a stage, and we're acting. What's the plot twist? Well, the plot twist is you don't have to keep playing the role someone else cast you in. You can rewrite your lines, recast your part, and flip the entire story. Today, we're diving deep: why life feels scripted, how masks protect and limit us, and how to finally take the lead role in your own damn life. So, honey, grab your popcorn, adjust your wig, and let's get quantum AF. Oops, I almost said the bad word. It's okay. All right. So today's episode is Life is Just an Acting Gig. Waking up from the role you didn't audition for. From masks to main stage, how science, spirit, and sass help you stop acting and start living authentically. All right. Let's get going, people. Let's do segment number one: the stage of reality. Ooh, this one's juicy. All right. So, I always back everything up with like science, philosophy, studies, and I always give you practical tips. So, let's start with the science and philosophy. So, Nick Bostrom's simulation hypothesis, Oxford 2003, he argues that if civilizations can simulate consciousness, odds are we're already living in one. Imagine the Matrix, but with taxes and your boss CCing you unnecessarily on emails. That's what we live in. So the movie The Matrix, in my personal opinion, was a documentary. That's all I'm saying. You can disagree with me, and that's okay. So another thing that I was researching is there is the quantum observer effect, the double slit experiment, Wheeler 1978. So, what is this quantum observer effect? Well, particles behave like waves until observed. Once observed, they collapse into a measurable outcome. What's the translation for that? Reality literally changes its behavior when watched. Right? Who knew? Let me tell you, the first time I read that, because I'm a quantum nerd, I was like, wow, that is insane. And if you think about it, it kind of isn't, because we create our own reality. So it supports the fact that we can change our reality if we understand quantum physics, and if we understand that the reality is not there, literally not there, until you observe it. We can do an episode about that. All right. Another um, thing that another, backup, scientific and psychological backup, is sociologist Irving Goffman on the presentation of self in Everyday, 1956. He says every day is dramaturgical. I don't know. It's drama, basically. Okay, I'm Latina. Don't judge me. So meaning we're always on stage, managing impressions for different audiences. And we really are. If you think about it, we're different with our friends. We're different with our parents. We are the same person, but we act different. So we act. Hello. All right. So, you know, For example, I saw my cancer treatments as a bad improv show. I sort of got like chemo was like a scene where nobody knew their lines, but the director said, keep going, keep pumping that thing. It's in comedy stages where you feel locked. Sometimes when I do stand up, you feel locked into a character almost because you are showing just a few parts of yourself, a point of view, right? And as a stand-up comedian, but secretly you want to throw the script away and just be you. And when I say script is, yeah, we write jokes and setups and all that, right? And sometimes you feel you're kind of this is how I feel caged in the format, in the craft of stand-up comedy, in the format. So sometimes I do want to get out, and I do, and just be more of myself, because I am myself, but I want to be more of myself. But you kind of show different parts again of you in different situations and with different people. And here I have a fan story. Maria from Chicago. Every day in corporate America, I wear a uniform. Yes, honey, you do. Not the literal blouse and blazer, but the role of the professional. It's exhausting. By the time I get home, I don't even know who Maria is anymore. Yeah, because you're playing that role of corporate woman. And there's things you can't do. There's things you can't say that you would do at home or with your parents, with your friends. So yeah, so it feels definitely like you're playing a role. 100%. Um, Here, okay, so there is actually, I created a free guide with practical tips regarding this topic, okay? And I'm going to put it as soon as the live ends. I'm going to put it in the pinned comments, so check it out. It's free. It's a short guide that you can download from the stateofgraceshop.com. So first practical tip, have an awareness journal. Note moments that you feel like yourself versus the moments that you're acting. And over time, you're going to notice patterns. Oh, yeah, definitely. So I'm a big advocate of writing everything down, because when you see it and write it, I'm a visual person. If you are visual, then do it in writing for sure. And then I see the patterns, and I'm like, sometimes I see the patterns in my head, but when it's black and white on, whether it's a document on your laptop or it's you writing it out, then wow, yeah, you see the patterns. That's for sure, honey. All right, another tip is silent stage pause. I call it the silent stage pause. So when you catch yourself acting, pause and ask, who's the audience? And is this role really serving me? I'm throwing those two out there. There's more to come. I think I have 10 of them. All right, segment number 2. And by the way, if you have any questions or anything you want to tell me in the comments, feel free, okay, to do that. I'd love to hear from you. So segment two is the mask we wear. Ooh, okay, the mask. Yeah, it's not just for acting. We wear a mask, like you were saying, a mask for different situations. All right. So here I'm going to back it up again with science and psychology. So Carl Jung, you know who he is, and he talks about the persona. And it's a social mask that allow us to function in society, but if you overuse it, it blocks the authentic self. And this is in Jung Collected Works, Volume 7. So yeah, it's a persona, it's a character, it's an acting gig. But yes, absolutely. Like at some point, I remember I was doing stand up so much that I almost got lost in my stand up. Like I thought I was just that, and I wasn't. I'm so much more than that. And I can prove it. If you look at my channel, I have topics for everything, right? I'm a person who's very curious about everything. So I kind of did limit myself to just stand up, and that was not good for me. I mean, if somebody wants to do that, more power to you. But I prefer to just kind of like do the stand up, know that's a character, and then shake it off and be me after I get off the stage. All right, let's back it up a little more and talk about neuroscience of lying. Ooh, this is juicy. Okay. fMRI studies Show lying activates the prefrontal cortex, anterior cingulate cortex, and I don't know, it's Parietal. I'm not a doctor, so forgive me. The lobe, right? That lobe. And this is in Spence et al. Neural Homage, 2001. The translation is hiding truth literally takes more brain power. I know some pathological liars. I'm sure their brain is going to explode. I mean, wow, it takes more power. So I always said it's easier to tell the truth than to lie. And I didn't know this, but see, doing research is good. I love it. I'm such a nerd. Anyway, okay, so another thing about this, the mask that we wear, right? There is a thing called burnout connection. So the chronic masking correlates with stress and depression. And this was studied extensively in neurodiverse populations. This is from the Autism Research Center, Cambridge, 2019. All right. If you have any comments or you have any questions or you want to add information to this, I would love to hear from you in the comments. Feel free to comment, and I would love to have a chat with you here virtually, right? Okay, so I'm going to relate it to some of my personal life experiences. So like the comedy life, like I was saying before, the stand-up, you have to shake off the character and then step off the stage. Now, I think, for example, like Belle, Belle, right? If you've seen my lives with Belle, it's a character. She's from the South and she was married 5 times and 5 times divorced. Okay, so I have done an experiment and I slip into Belle to survive dating apps. While me, real Grace, stays hidden. I've done that. I've done that experiment and it's very interesting. Never went on a date though. I just did it for fun for a few days. And it's amazing how I feel more protected when I'm Belle than when I'm me, because she can say things that I can't say. And if you judge what she says, it's a character. So I love doing characters. Anyway, so laughter also was a mask during my family, chaos. Like growing up, if there was just dissension and tension, we actually joked around, and the laughter protects you. The jokes protect you when there's tension in relationships and family, but it also prevents you from having true expression. So here's a fan story. Jamal. At work, he says, I'm polished. With family, I'm obedient. Ooh. With friends, I'm the joker. Of course, none of those are me. They're just masks. Very profound, Jamal. Yes, they are. It feels like my soul is paying rent for costumes I don't even like. Wow, I love that. My soul is paying rent for costumes I don't even like. Wow, thank you, Jamal, for that. I appreciate it. So now we're going to go to 2 more practical tips for this segment. And the number 3 is mask inventory. That's what I call it. Write down your 3 to 5 most common masks and label them. Like protective, which is helpful when you're in danger. Suffocating, which drains your energy. Or, like whenever I'm in danger, it's like my soul leaves my body, right? Or something like that. I feel like I'm cold when I'm in danger. And so, which is good, because then I am emotionless. I put aside the emotions, and that persona has saved me a couple of times from being unalived. But that's for another podcast. Anyway, safe unmasking. Choose one safe person, like a friend or a therapist or even a journal, to reveal one truth you usually hide. All right, you guys, quick intermission. Even Shakespeare needed bathroom breaks. So this show is brought to you by the State of Grace Fraga.
Are you ready to unlock your body's incredible power to heal itself? Discover the transformative journey in Healing from Within. In this powerful guide, I share my personal healing stories and the science behind the mind-body connection. With simple techniques like focusing on emotions, Healing from Within will guide you to tap into your own healing potential. This is your time to transform inside and out. Whether you're healing physically, emotionally, or mentally, Healing from Within will give you the tools you need to sustain a healing practice and embrace your journey. Healing from Within, available now at www.thestateofgraceshop.com. Visit www.thestateofgraceshop and start your healing journey today.
All right. I wrote that book, Healing from Within, after my cancer healing journey. So it's available, like it said, at thestateofgraceshop.com. It's a good read. And all my books are in PDF. You can download them on your computer or on your phone and read them there. And they're only $5.99. So pretty good deal, right? All right. So now back to the drama. Let's go back to the drama. All right. Segment number 3. I call it quantum improv. Science says we're making this up. All right, let's dive into it. So there's a thing called quantum superposition. Okay, so electrons exist in multiple states until measured. This is Schrodinger's cat thought experiment, 1935. What's the translation of electrons exist in multiple states until measured? Until you decide your life contains multiple possibilities. I've been saying that for so long. There's different possibilities in the quantum field. Which one will you align yourself with? And you start creating it with your thoughts and emotions. All the all the possibilities you can even imagine and not imagine exist out in the quantum field. All right. Another thing about quantum improv that we're making all this up is what's called the mirror neurons. And this is Rizzolatti, University of Parma, 1992. Okay, mirror neurons fire both when we act and when we watch someone else act. Why yawns are contagious and why we learn scripts by watching others. So mirror neurons, they both fire at the same time when we act and when we watch someone else act. That's why whoever you hang out with, I think kind of sticks a lot of times, what they say, how they act, and vice versa. I have to say, curse a little bit. And I know that people that don't curse, when they're around me, they start cursing. And I know that's a bad influence, but there's also good influences. I'm just putting that one out because that's very tangible and very obvious. Okay, let's keep going. Why is science saying we're making all this up, all this reality and everything that surrounds us? Neuroplasticity and mental rehearsal. Andrew Newberg's research shows imagined rehearsal strengthens the same neural circuits as actual practice. And this is Neurotheology 2010. Oh my God. So whatever you rehearse in your mind strengthens those neural circuits, and it's a practice. So instead of imagining, oh my gosh, I have cancer, I am sick, whatever. Like I'm always, after being a cancer survivor, you're always thinking you have cancer, everything, a pimple is, oh my God, I have cancer. So instead of that, what I do is I flip the thought, right? And I'm like, no, it's not going to be cancer. It's just going to be something benign and I'm okay. I'm perfectly healthy. So it's a practice. I'm practicing and I'm also calling that reality to me. Remember, you want to align with the reality that you want to be in. All right. Um, actors, a lot of actors and some stand-ups, they rehearse in front of the mirror until they just, they look at themselves until it becomes, the practice just becomes so ingrained in you that your neurons are like, okay, I can do this when I'm on the stage. That's what rehearsing is. It's just training your neurons, right? To do what they're supposed to do. Your practice. I practice comedy bits in private. The brain didn't know there was no real audience. I'm driving and I'm practicing comedy bits or thinking about comedy bits, and then saying them out loud. So yeah. So here we have a fan story. And Priya says, I quit finance to open a bakery. Good for you, Priya. That's amazing. I literally went from spreadsheets to sourdough. That's funny. Us. But now every day improv and I am happier. Oh, that's great. I'm so happy for you, Priya. And you got to make the jump. And if you see yourself in the bakery and doing things and being successful, you are attracting that reality. You're aligning with the frequency of that reality. And frequency is not a new age thing. There's literal frequency in every single thing in this reality. Some things are solid, some things are liquid, and some are gas, because they're like different vibrational frequencies that make them look or feel like solid, liquid, or gas. So practical tips, which, by the way, there's going to be a free guide that I'm going to put in the pinned comments that you can download from the stateofgraceshop.com. All right, practical tips. Role swap day. Ooh, you not swap. Okay, sorry. Role swap day. So for 24 hours, flip one role. If you're always the helper, be the one who asks for help. That's a good one. So then you kind of retrain your neural pathways to teach yourself to ask for help, right? And then it's almost like when I did martial arts, I did Krav Maga. You do it and do it and do it and do it and practice. And a couple of times in real life, I immediately go into a fighting stance when I feel threatened. I had somebody running towards me. I was like in a fighting stance. I was ready to fight. And he went around me instead of like going straight to me. So yeah, that was just conditioned and practice. All right, quantum rehearsal. Spend 5 minutes daily visualizing yourself embodying the role that you want, whether it's leader, artist, healer, teacher, whatever it is. All right, let's see. All right, let's go to segment number 4. And I call this segment the director versus the actor. All right. So again, let's go to the spiritual and philosophical backup, okay? So a man named Alan Watts, he says, this is the real secret of life, to be completely engaged with what you're doing in the here and now. Instead of calling it work, realize it is play. I love that. Everything I do, to me, has to be fun, or I'll make it fun, because that's what makes life more bearable to me, right? Whenever you're doing something that you don't want to do, you just make it fun, turn it into a fun thing. All right. Another thing, another spiritual and philosophical backup, the Advaita Vedanta non-duality says you're both the actor, the doing, and the witness, the being. Observing your role helps you detach. Absolutely. And that happens when, like, I watch myself doing stand-up. When I'm doing it, I'm in it. But when I am watching myself, I'm observing, and almost I'm very objective, and I detach from my feelings about, oh man, I shouldn't have said that, or I just turn that off, and it works. All right. Another thing that backs this up, the director versus the actor, is called the cognitive diffusion. Act Therapy Hayes, 1999. And it says that labeling your thoughts in the third person reduces suffering. Well, yes, I understand you detach from yourself, but I don't go that far. I think personally, I detach my emotions from what I observe about myself. And that helps me better than speaking in the third person. That's a little bit too much for me, but okay, to each their own. And it's okay if you do it. So, like I remember during my cancer healing journey, I was being swallowed whole, honey, by the cancer patient role until I'm like, I'm not just a cancer patient, dude. I'm like a storyteller, director, survivor, comedian, healer. Uh, psh, a lot of people get in that, when you have cancer, you are so focused on your healing that you can get almost typecast yourself as in the role of cancer patient. But you're so many more things than that, right? And so here David says, this is a fan story. I was typecast as the victim. Every bad thing reinforced it. Journaling as if I was the director helped me flip the script. I realized I'd been auditioning for tragedy, not living. Nice. Thank you, David, for that, making yourself vulnerable and telling us that. So here are some more practical tips that, again, there's a free guide I'm going to put in the pinned comments as soon as we're done with the live. So number 7 is director's journal. Each night, write the day like a script. Rewrite one scene as you wish it had gone. That's a great way to change your neural pathways. I love that. That's one of my favorite things that I wrote about practical tips. So third person reflection, okay? This is what I call third person reflection. Instead of I'm anxious, say Grace is experiencing anxiety. Instantly shifts perspective. Another way that I do it, instead of saying I'm anxious, I flip it to I'm excited. Either way, you just flip it. It's all about the flip, right? That's all it is. All right, let me show you another video that I would love for you guys to see, and we will be back soon. So I need a wardrobe change. No, I'm kidding. Grab your snacks. Back to your regularly scheduled cosmic programming in a minute. Yeah, a minute. That's how long this video is. All right, my loves. All right, back to regular programming. Remember when they did that back in the day? Oh my gosh, I'm aging myself. I am carbon dating myself. All right, so this is segment number 5, and I call it Taking the Lead Role. Let's dive into some science and psychology. So there's Maslow's self-actualization. Becoming who you truly are is the highest need. And this is from Towards Psychology of Being, 1962. And one of my favorite books that I read when I was 11. Yes, I'm crazy like that. I was kind of like a little genius kid. So it's Victor Frankl, and it's a man's search for meaning. He showed even in Auschwitz, one could choose attitude, which is the last freedom, right? The ultimate freedom. And another thing that backs all of this up, that you need to take the lead role in your life, is what's called the flow state. Mihaly, I can't pronounce the name, Csikszentmihalyi. I'm not joking. In 1990, he found that peak happiness happens when you're so engaged with something that we forget the mask. So we're being our authentic selves. And authenticity is a very high vibrational state of being, by the way. So, okay, so like my comedy career, for example, I choose to be the star in my own comedy career after playing supporting roles in other people's productions. I started the YouTube channel. I produce my own content. I have fan sites. You're going to see a video soon of one of my fan sites, Patreon. And by the way, all my links are in my bio in Linktree. Okay. And then also, I went from the shift of cancer patient to survivor to teacher/healer. So, yeah, I took the lead role in all those timelines. And as a cancer patient, that was my lead role at the time because I wanted to get healed. As a cancer survivor, it was just recapping everything that happened and dealing with the PTSD. And then teacher is just projecting my experience and interchanging experiences and knowledge with other cancer survivors or just people that are not cancer survivors. So, all right. So fan story number 5. Sophia says, I always played the sidekick at work. One day I said, no more. I stepped up as the leader. It was terrifying, but liberating. I bet. It's always been the beta. It's kind of exhausting, isn't it? All right. Practical tips. So this is what I call the morning mirror exercise. So look in the mirror and declare, today I choose to play the role of whatever, teacher, daughter, husband, boyfriend. All right. So tip number 10, rewrite the script. Write your current life script in one paragraph. Then rewrite the new version you want and read it daily. And number 11, this is the last tip. That was 11, not 10. Choose your genre. Each morning ask, am I living in a drama, in a tragedy, in a comedy, or in a rom-com? Shift it intentionally. All right, last scene changes, babes. Curtains almost down. One more word from our fabulous sponsor, the State of Grace Fraga.
I am Latino like Grace, and I am teaching her how to golf. But I don't know shit about golf. I had to Google it. Still, I want to get in her pants. That's my thing. So, let's get ready to trick her into doing me.
You can hear the rain, and it's okay, honey, because it's kind of like a background music. I like it. I hate it.
All right. And we are down to closing thoughts. All right. And by the way, before we go to the closing thoughts, don't forget, I've got a free gift for you. Check the pinned comment below to download your free guide, Quit the Script, 10 Ways to Stop Acting and Start Living. It's 11 actually, but okay, whatever. It's packed with practical tools to help you drop the masks and step into your true role. And don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. All right, let's do a quick recap. Life is scripted, but you can improvise your actor and director, role, and audience. Stop auditioning for roles that keep you small, honey. Fire the director in your head and cast yourself as the star. The spotlight is already yours. All right, I will see you on the next Quantum AF in about a month. Have an amazing rest of your day. I love you and I appreciate you being here, watching and being part of this community.